Today, we'll be reviewing the TK710STi projector from BenQ. The TK710STi is replacing the TK700 series in BenQ's lineup of gaming projectors, and after our testing, we think the TK710STi is definitely worth the upgrade. This projector comes equipped with a laser light source, low leg latency for gaming, and a short throw distance for those looking to position their projector in a more unconventional space. So let's take a look at the specs and perform some real-world testing to help determine if the TK710STi is the right projector for you. Here's a list of the specs for the TK710STi. To start, let's get into what's changed between the 700 and the 710 series. The 710 has a shorter throw ratio, which allows it to be mounted much closer to the screen. The 700 is a lamp, while the 710 is a laser. Because it's a laser, it's also brighter at 3200 lumens versus 3000, and it has a higher contrast. Another difference is the price. Right now, as we're filming this video, the TK700STi is currently listed at $1699, while the 710 is $1999. With such a small price difference between the two projectors, we're really excited to see the amount of upgrades that they're making to the 710STi. The TK710STi comes equipped with horizontal and vertical Keystone Correction, as well as corner fit. This provides great flexibility for projector placement, especially for golf simulator setups where you may want your projector off-center from the screen. The short throw distance of the projector is impressive as well, with the ability to fill 100 inches at just 5 feet away from the screen. So next, let's take a look at some of the connections on the back of the projector. You've got your standard HDMI, I don't know what I'm pointing at. So it has two HDMI connections, an RS-232 9-pin connector for external projector control. It has a USB port and then an audio out jack for connecting to an external audio source. One other connection it has is actually right underneath this plate, where you remove that, and the projector includes this little dongle that you can plug in right here. It basically turns your projector into a smart projector. This is an Android streaming device, and it's just an easy connection right there. Next, we performed a brightness test where we used a light meter to measure the amount of light that hits the screen from the projector. The TK710STi gave us a lux reading of 140 from 12 feet from the projector screen. We also tested the screen brightness using the bright picture profile instead of the default living room profile.
Ugh, that looks terrible.
The bright profile gave us a lux reading of 210, so if you need some extra brightness, the TK710 is able to push out a little bit more if needed. You'll notice that the bright setting really degrades the color accuracy though, and we wouldn't recommend using it if you want the best image from your projector. After testing brightness, we tested for dynamic range, color accuracy, and sharpness. So now we're going to get into the testing where we look at sharpness, brightness, and dynamic range. First, let's take a look at the sharpness here. So looking at the lines at the top here, you can see they're very well defined. It's pretty clear where one line stops and the next starts. And even looking at this section here where the vertical and horizontal lines are crosshatched, you can go right up next to the screen and just pick out individual squares. It is a very sharp image that you're getting on the screen. The flickering you see on these lines is just because the camera's shutter speed isn't quite matching up with the refresh rate from the projector. So it's not something we're seeing in real life just through the camera. If we change the shutter speed, we could try to fix this, but then we could potentially bring up some other issues. So we're just gonna leave it as is. Down here looking at these lines going across, you can see it's very clear, even all the way up to the end. There might be a little bit of aliasing right in here, but part of that could be, because we did have to use Keystone Correction a little bit as we were setting this projector up, just because it's not lined up exactly perfectly for the vertical offset. So that could be contributing to that a little. All right, next we're gonna look at the dynamic range, looking at the kind of blacks on the color spectrum here. You can see between like these, this is actually a pretty dark gray and the black box next to it. There's a pretty clear definition. So it's handling those deep dark blacks really well. And then if you get right up next to the screen, let me show you, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but kind of casting a shadow on the screen. So where my shadow is, there's no light getting into the screen compared to the black squares that you see. I mean, there's maybe a little bit of a difference, but there's basically indistinguishable between my shadow and the squares on the screen. Now looking back down here again, between the different colors of gray that go across here, I mean, they're all very well defined. There's nothing that really kind of bleeds together into one like solid mass. Each color is very well defined. Then looking just above that at the gradients right here, I mean, it's a very smooth transition between the deepest blacks all the way up to the gray and the white. I mean, there's no like jarring change between any of the gradients. It does a really good job of that smooth transition the entire way. So next we are going to look at the colors. Starting off over here, we're looking at the green, blue, and red circles. We're comparing that to what we have on our computer monitor here to kind of give us a baseline of what we should be seeing. Comparing the greens and reds on the projector are maybe a little more muted than we're seeing on the monitor. The blue is definitely a much deeper blue on the projector than we're seeing on the monitor. But otherwise, I mean, the colors look great. The only thing that we notice that might be a little off is this yellow, where, you know, projectors can sometimes have a little bit of difficulty handling yellows. It looks maybe slightly tinted green over here compared to what we're seeing on our monitor. But overall, it's doing a great job handling, you know, the whole range of colors. And finally, for color, we're looking at this gradient line. You can see pretty smooth transitions across the entire line. Looking at the colors compared to what we're seeing on our projector, the colors look very true to what we are seeing on the monitor. The only difference might be up here towards this pink. It might be a little bit darker, but otherwise this is probably, out of the tests we've done so far, probably one of the best color gradient lines we've seen.
Next, we ran through a few different courses on GS Pro to show you what gameplay looks like on the TK710STi. Here's an example using video to show the picture quality for those who plan on using their setup to watch movies or video.
Here's an example of how this projector looks with some ambient light if you don't have a light-controlled space. We're sitting at about 5.7 or so lux for ambient brightness hitting the screen. So this is what the screen will look like in a non-light controlled area with this projector. So our final thoughts on this projector. First off, the fact that it's a laser projector for $19.99 is great. You get a sharp, bright image with BenQ's gorgeous color and dynamic range. And the short throw distance is perfect for mounting the projector up close to the screen to avoid unwanted shadows on your image. Compared to the previous 700 series, the change from lamp to laser light source was a huge improvement. The color accuracy and dynamic range is seriously good. It's on par with projectors almost double the price. And even though it's not quite as bright as some top dollar projectors on paper, it can be mounted closer with its short throw distance ratio, which means it can look just as bright because it's physically closer to the screen. Overall, we think this projector is going to be really popular in the simulator arena because of its great image quality and affordable price compared to some other projectors currently on the market. So that's it for this video. We hope that it helps you with your projector purchase, but let us know if you have any questions or if you'd like to see any other projectors compared in the comments below. If you appreciate content like this, please take the time to like this video, as it really helps to inform us what kinds of videos you find helpful and improves our performance in YouTube's algorithms. And as always, please like and subscribe for more content on building your own golf simulator setup.